Have you ever left a room full of people, feeling completely and utterly alone? You were agreeable, you were supportive, you smiled and nodded in all the right places. You were the perfect glue that held the conversation together. But as you walk away, a chilling question arises. Did anyone in that room actually meet you? Or did they just meet a pleasant, smiling mirror? There is a particular kind of invisibility reserved for the chronically nice person. It is the exhaustion of being a chameleon, of constantly adjusting your own colors to match the background, until you forget what your own true colors even are. You have been praised for being easygoing, flexible, low maintenance. But what if these compliments are the bars of a very comfortable cage? What if your agreeableness is not an authentic state of being, but a highly sophisticated survival strategy? A strategy, as the great psychologist Carl Jung would suggest, born from the shadow. A strategy designed to keep you safe from conflict and rejection, at the cost of your own truth, at the cost of your own soul. This is the shadow work of the agreeable person. It is the journey of looking behind the pleasant mask to find the powerful, opinionated, and authentic person you have learned to hide. Not to become difficult, but to finally become real.
The chronically agreeable person is a master of adaptation, a social artist. They have a PhD in reading the room, in sensing the unspoken needs of others, in becoming whatever the situation requires them to be. It is a skill born of a deep intelligence and a deep fear. Let's talk about Jessica. Jessica is 32, and for the last year, she has been in a relationship with a man she adores. He is passionate, opinionated, and full of life. And Jessica, wanting to be the perfect partner, has become the perfect mirror for his passions. He loves spicy Thai food, so she learns to love it too, even though she secretly prefers milder flavors. He is an avid fan of experimental jazz, so she goes to concerts with him, nodding along to the complex rhythms, while the part of her that loves simple pop music goes silent. His friends are intellectuals who love to debate politics, so in their company, she becomes a thoughtful listener, never offering a dissenting opinion because her deepest desire is for them to like her, to accept her into their circle. She has become a beautiful, flawless reflection of his world, and he loves her for it. He tells his friends how easygoing and supportive she is. Her persona of the perfect, agreeable partner is a resounding success. But lately, a strange and unsettling feeling has been creeping in. When she is alone, she feels a profound sense of nothingness, a quiet hollowness. The other day, a friend asked her a simple question. "What's your favorite movie?" And just like Anna the lawyer, Jessica's mind went blank. She could name his favorite movie. She could name the favorite movies of all his friends. But her own, it was gone, lost in a fog of agreeableness. She had become such a perfect mirror for others that she could no longer see her own reflection. She felt a flicker of panic. If she is not a reflection of him, who is she? This is the existential crisis at the heart of the agreeable shadow. It is a form of self-erasure so subtle, so practiced, that we often don't notice it is happening until we are terrifyingly lost. The great psychologist Carl Jung had a specific framework for this. He spoke of the persona, the mask we show the world, and the shadow, the parts of ourselves we hide. For the people pleaser, the persona is agreeable, nice, easygoing. But to maintain this mask, what must be exiled into the shadow? Everything that could possibly cause a ripple. everything that could lead to friction or conflict. This includes your anger, which we've discussed, but it also includes much quieter things. Your unique preferences, your controversial opinions, your quirky tastes, your authentic no, your authentic yes. Your very individuality becomes the enemy of your safety. So you perform a slow, quiet, unconscious amputation. You cut off these parts of yourself one by one and hide them in the shadow in the name of being loved. You learn to silence the inner voice that says, I don't actually like this. You learn to ignore the inner nudge that says, I have a different idea. You become a master of the neutral smile, the supportive nod, the non-committal, whatever you want is fine with me. Each of these small acts of self-silencing is a betrayal. It is a quiet message you send to yourself that says, the real me is not acceptable. My truth is dangerous. My presence is less important than their comfort. And after years of sending yourself this message, you begin to believe it. The connection to your own inner world, your true self, grows faint. The whispers from your shadow become so quiet you can no longer hear them. You are left with only the mask, a beautiful, functional, highly praised mask, and a profound, soul-deep emptiness where a person used to be. The invisibility you feel is not an illusion. It is the reality of a self that has been systematically hidden away. You are not just feeling like a ghost in your own life. In a way, you have become one. The first step in coming back to life is to acknowledge the price you have paid for being easygoing. It is to look in the mirror, past the perfect reflection of others, and to mourn the beautiful, unique, and powerful stranger you have yet to truly meet.
To see your agreeableness as a mask can be a deeply unsettling realization. It can feel like a criticism of your very character, but it is not. It is an act of compassion. It is the act of finally understanding the why behind your behavior. And the why is almost always fear. Let's be very clear. Chronic agreeableness, the kind that leads to self-erasure, is not born from an abundance of kindness. It is born from a scarcity of safety. It is a shadow strategy, a sophisticated survival mechanism learned in childhood. As a child, you may have grown up in an environment where your authentic self was not safe. Perhaps you had a parent with a volatile temper, and you learned that being quiet and agreeable was the only way to avoid an explosion. Perhaps you were praised only when you were good and selfless, and ignored or punished when you had your own needs or opinions. Your young psyche, in its brilliance, learned a critical lesson. My truth is dangerous. My authenticity leads to conflict or abandonment. To be safe, I must become a reflection of what they want me to be. And so the agreeable persona was born. It was not a choice. It was a conscription. A uniform you were forced to wear to survive the emotional battlefield of your youth. And it worked. It kept you safe. But the battlefield has changed. You are an adult now. You are no longer that powerless child, yet you are still wearing the old, tattered uniform. You are still operating from the outdated belief that your truth is a threat. The strategy that once saved you is now suffocating you. This is the central paradox of this shadow work. The very thing you do to ensure connection, being agreeable, is the very thing that makes true, authentic connection impossible. Because if people only love the mask, they do not actually love you. They love the reflection you provide, the service you offer.
the lack of friction you create. And deep down, your soul knows this. That is the source of the loneliness you feel even in a room full of people. It is the loneliness of being loved for a character you are playing, not for the person you truly are. The great lie that the agreeable shadow tells you is this: you have to choose between your truth and your relationships. That if you start speaking your mind, expressing your preferences, and setting boundaries, you will end up alone. But Carl Jung's entire body of work points to the opposite conclusion. The journey of individuation, of becoming a whole self, is the only path to true connection. Because authentic relationships are not built on the absence of conflict. They are built on the safe navigation of it. They are built on the trust that two whole, separate people can bring their full truths to the table and still choose to stay. To speak your truth is a risk, yes. Some people in your life, those who have benefited from your silence, may not like it. They may push back. They may call you difficult or selfish. This is the moment of truth. This is the test. Because the people who are meant to be in your life will not leave when you finally show up. They will lean in. They will be curious. They will say, "I didn't know you felt that way. Tell me more." They will celebrate the emergence of the real you. The fear of being too much is the anthem of the agreeable shadow. But the truth is, you are not too much. You have been living as not enough. You have been showing up as a fraction of your true self. The world has been deprived of your full, vibrant, opinionated, powerful presence. And your shadow work is the sacred act of finally giving the world that gift. It is the process of reclaiming all the parts of yourself you deemed unlovable and bringing them out of the darkness. Your sharp wit, your passionate convictions, your unconventional tastes, your profound no. All the colors you muted to blend in. To be whole is to be a rainbow, not a shade of beige. This is the hope and the promise of this work. The freedom you will find is not just the freedom to speak. It is the freedom from the exhausting, constant work of self-monitoring and self-censorship. It is the deep, soul-level peace that comes from knowing that you are loved for who you are, not for the performance you put on. It is the joy of finally putting down the mirror and allowing yourself to be seen. To decide you want to be more authentic is a powerful first step. But how do you practice when the very thought of conflict sends your nervous system into high alert? The answer is you do not start with the final boss. You do not start by confronting your difficult relative or your demanding boss. You start in the safest way possible. You start with small, low-stakes experiments in truth-telling. This is the practical, gentle application of shadow work. You are not waging a revolution overnight. You are planting a single, rebellious seed of truth and watching it grow. Here are 3 experiments you can conduct this week to begin finding your true voice. All they require is a little bit of courage and a lot of self-compassion. The first experiment is called the low-stakes opinion. For the chronically agreeable person, even a small, insignificant opinion can feel like a declaration of war. So, we must practice in the safest arena possible. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is this. In your next group conversation about a completely harmless topic, a new movie, a restaurant, the weather, I want you to find one small opportunity to state your authentic, subjective opinion. Gently, without apology. You do not have to disagree with anyone. You just have to add your own truth to the mix. If everyone is raving about a film, you can simply say, "That's so interesting you all loved it. For me, I actually found the pacing a little slow." If someone says, "Isn't this weather amazing?" you can say, "I do love the sun, but I'm secretly a big fan of rainy days." Notice what these statements are. They are not attacks. They are not arguments. They are I statements. They are your subjective truth. No one can argue with your experience. The point of this experiment is not to win a debate. The point is to say your truth out loud, and then to witness the outcome, which is, almost always, nothing. The world does not end. No one storms out of the room. You have just successfully taught your nervous system a profound lesson. My voice is not a weapon. It is safe to exist. The second experiment is called the Swallowed Truth Inventory. At the end of each day for the next week, take out your journal. Create 2 columns. In the first column, write the heading, "A Truth I Swallowed Today." And just reflect on your day. Was there a moment you held back, a thought you censored, an opinion you muted? Write it down. I wanted to say that I was too tired to go out, but I said yes anyway. I disagreed with the idea in the meeting, but I stayed silent. I wanted to ask for help, but I didn't want to be a bother. Now, in the second column, write the heading, "The Fear That Silenced Me." And next to each swallowed truth, identify the specific fear that kept you quiet. I was afraid of disappointing them. I was afraid of sounding stupid. I was afraid of being seen as needy. This is powerful shadow work. You are not judging yourself. You are becoming a compassionate observer of your own patterns. By naming the fear, you take it out of the shadowy realm of unconscious reaction and bring it into the light of conscious awareness. And a fear that is seen begins to lose its power. You start to realize that you are not being controlled by other people. You are being controlled by your fear of other people. And that is a battle you can begin to win. The third and final experiment is called the bridge statement. Once you are more comfortable identifying your truths, you may want to start expressing them in slightly higher stakes situations. The key is to do it in a way that feels safe and honors your gentle nature. The bridge statement is a tool for that. It allows you to express a different opinion without creating a sense of opposition. It builds a bridge, not a wall. Instead of a blunt, "I disagree," you can try, "That's a really interesting point. The way I see it is a little different." Instead of, "That's a bad idea," you can try, "I understand where you're coming from, and I'm wondering if we could also consider," or the most powerful bridge of all, a simple question. "Can you tell me more about why you think that? I'm trying to understand." These statements are not weak. They are incredibly skillful. They allow you to bring your truth into the room while simultaneously signaling to the other person that you respect theirs. You are not erasing yourself, and you are not attacking them. You are creating a space where 2 different truths can coexist. This is the foundation of all authentic connection. The low-stakes opinion, the swallowed truth inventory, the bridge statement. These are not just communication techniques. They are acts of soul retrieval. With each small experiment, you are calling back a piece of the self you exiled long ago. You are slowly, patiently, lovingly taking off the mask. To speak your truth for the first time, after a lifetime of silence, can feel like learning to sing a song you have only ever hummed. It will feel awkward at first. Your voice may crack. You may feel off-key. That is okay. Every great singer begins with a trembling note. The journey of this particular shadow work, the path Carl Jung pointed towards, is not about becoming a loud, aggressive person.
It is about reclaiming your own unique instrument. It is about remembering the music that only you can make. For too long, you have been a masterful conductor of other people's orchestras. You have helped them find their rhythm, their harmony. But you have left your own instrument in its case, gathering dust. The experiments we discussed today, they are not a final performance. They are your scales. They are your practice sessions. They are the gentle, daily acts of taking your instrument out of its case, polishing it, and remembering how it feels in your hands. Each time you state a small opinion, you are playing a single clear note. Each time you identify a swallowed truth, you are reading your own sheet music. Each time you use a bridge statement, you are learning to harmonize with others without losing your own melody. This is the path to true connection, not the counterfeit connection of perfect, frictionless harmony, but the deep, resonant connection that happens when two authentic songs are brave enough to be played in the same room. Sometimes they will harmonize beautifully. Sometimes they will create a dissonance that is challenging and alive, but they will always be real. You are not a mirror. You are not an echo. You are a song, and the world has been waiting to hear what you sound like. So I invite you to make a commitment, not to perfection, but to practice. This channel is your safe rehearsal space. In the comments below, I want you to share a moment you felt silenced, a time you swallowed your truth. Let us create a space where our silent notes can finally be seen, and in that seeing, begin to find their sound. By sharing your silence, you give another person the courage to find their voice. And as you begin to reclaim your voice, as you start to take up more space in your own life, you may begin to feel the walls of that comfortable cage you've been living in. You may start to feel a sense of being trapped. Trapped in a job, a relationship, or a role that no longer fits the person who is beginning to emerge. And then our next video, we will look directly at this feeling of being trapped. We will explore it as a signal from your shadow that the authentic self no longer just wants a voice. It wants a new stage to sing on. Until then, be brave enough to be a beginner. Be compassionate with your awkward notes. And listen for the quiet, beautiful, and powerful music of your own emerging truth.